The Queen Egypt Tried to Erase by Alex Wynne Ashwood. In the Valley of the Kings, where the sun bleeds gold over endless cliffs of limestone, the dead lie in silence. But not all names were meant to be remembered. Some were carved, then struck out. Some erased from stone, as though chiseling them away could erase them from eternity itself. Kheperu was only a tomb builder, one among many men whose lives were spent underground, chiseling corridors into the cliffs and painting walls with colors of lapis, ochre, and crushed malachite. He was young, with calloused hands and eyes that still dreamed. For though he labored in the darkness for others' glory, he longed for his own name to be carved where time could not devour it. One morning, as he smoothed a wall within the tomb of a nobleman, his copper chisel struck plaster instead of stone. The plaster cracked. Behind it, faint as a ghost, lay a line of hieroglyphs half buried in lime. Curious, Kheperu scraped more. What he saw made his heart beat faster. It was a cartouche, a royal name, but gouged through, scarred by deliberate blows of a chisel. The name had been murdered. Still, he could make it out. Neferet-Satiah, the beautiful daughter of the goddess. Kheperu leaned closer, brushing dust from the erased glyphs. Though half obliterated, they still shone with the elegance of a master scribe's hand. Beneath the cartouche was the faint outline of a woman's form, a queen, her face partly scraped away, but her eyes surviving, dark and watchful, staring straight into his soul. He felt a chill, though the tomb was warm with torches. He reached for a scrap of clay from the floor and pressed the cartouche into it, imprinting the forbidden name before the overseer returned. "Leave that," muttered old Pamu, a mason with missing teeth, as he saw Kheperu's interest. His voice was low, fearful. "Some names are buried for a reason. Leave her to the desert." But Kheperu's curiosity burned brighter than caution. That night, by flickering oil lamp in his small house at Deir el-Medina, he studied the imprint. Neferet-Satiah. Why had she been erased? He dreamed of her that night. When he woke, the scent of lotus still clung to him. In the days that followed, Kheperu began asking questions, carefully, cautiously. Among scribes and fellow artisans, whispers stirred. Some turned away at the name. Others muttered fragments. She was Pharaoh's consort, once. They say the priests condemned her. Her statues were toppled, her name chiseled out. But none dared speak more. Still, the dreams came. Night after night, Neferet-Satiah appeared, urging him to follow. He saw flashes, her seated on the throne beside Pharaoh, her lips moving in prayer, her hands lifting offerings to Hathor. Then the visions darkened. Priests pointing in accusation, guards dragging her away. One evening, as he returned from the village well, he felt eyes on his back. A man in white linen, his head shaved smooth, black kohl lining his eyes. He did not speak. He simply stood among the shadows of the houses, watching. Kheperu's heart tightened. The priests knew he was asking questions. Yet curiosity became obsession. One fragment led to another. An erased line in a scroll, a half-hidden symbol on a potsherd. Kheperu pieced them together like shards of a broken mirror. At last he followed the trail into the desert cliffs beyond the valley. There, where the rock was pale and jagged, he found what he sought. A shaft, half choked with sand, sealed long ago by stones stacked in haste. With bleeding hands he pried them loose and slid into the darkness below. The air was heavy with dust, ancient and suffocating. His torch hissed, throwing trembling light across painted walls. Unlike the grand corridors of kings, this place was intimate, sorrowful. The walls were adorned with stars, with blue lotuses drifting on water, with faint figures of women dancing in honor of Hathor. At the center lay a broken sarcophagus, its lid cracked, bones scattered, amulets stolen by ancient thieves. Yet even in ruin, dignity clung to the chamber, and there, on the far wall, a line survived untouched. "I am Neferet-Satiah. Though they erase me, I live in the hearts of those who seek me." Kheperu knelt, awestruck, For a moment he swore he saw her standing before him again. Not as a ghost. You should not be here. Kheperu spun, torchlight revealing the man in white linen, the shaven-headed priest who had followed him. His eyes glittered with anger. She was condemned. She betrayed the gods, consorted with foreigners, threatened the balance of Ma'at. Her memory was wiped to preserve Egypt. Leave her to the darkness, as she deserves. But Kheperu looked again at the inscription. The words radiated defiance, not treachery. No, he said quietly. Her crime was not against Egypt. It was against you, against priests who feared her voice. The priest's lips curled. He raised a bronze blade, stepping closer. Seal the tomb. Forget what you saw, or join her in silence. Fear shook Kheperu, but resolve steadied his hands. He lifted his chisel, not to fight, but to carve. With quick, desperate strokes, he cut deeper into the wall, tracing her name again, inscribing it boldly into the stone. Sparks flew. The priest lunged, but at that instant a tremor shook the chamber. Sand rained down. A block of limestone cracked loose from the ceiling, crashing between them. Dust choked the air, torches sputtered. Kheperu stumbled, coughing, his ears ringing. When the dust cleared, the priest was gone, swallowed beneath the collapse. Kheperu staggered out into the desert night, clutching a shard of painted limestone where he had carved her name. The moon rose over the cliffs, cold and eternal. He knew the priests would never forgive what he had done, but her name was no longer erased. It lived, if only in stone, if only in him. Years passed. Kheperu grew old, his back bent, his hands no longer steady with the chisel. When his time came, he lay within his own modest tomb at Deir el-Medina. Before the stone sealed him in, he placed the shard of limestone at his side, Neferet-Satiah's name carved deep upon it. The desert might swallow tombs, priests might strike names from walls, but a single word, whispered, could outlast them all. To erase a name is to kill twice, but to speak it, even once, is to breathe eternity into the desert wind. And so, though the world forgot her, Neferet-Satiah lived on.
Mesura